Good evening and welcome to the Friday night edition of Newsmax Prime. I'm J.D. Hayworth. Of prime interest tonight, more terrorism, this time in Munich. The way I see it, regardless of the race, ethnicity, or political persuasion of the perpetrators, this was terrorism, plain and simple. The shots fired outside that McDonald's in Munich were taken to kill, maim, and terrify. We're still trying to get all the details on this vicious and violent attack, but what we do know tonight is how delusional President Obama is about what's going on in the world. Listen to what our clueless commander-in-chief said just a few hours before that Munich attack.
This idea that America is somehow on the verge of collapse, this vision of violence and chaos everywhere, doesn't really jibe with the experience of most people. Some of the fears that were expressed throughout the week just don't jibe with the facts.
Mr. President, you're certainly entitled to your opinion, but not to your own set of facts. First, you claimed ISIS was the JV team. It isn't. More recently, you said ISIS is on the run. It isn't. And then just hours ago, you insisted that the world has never been less violent. Tell that to the people of Munich tonight. For the latest on the attack, here's Miranda Kahn.
Thanks, JD. Right now, authorities are investigating the deaths of 10 people, one of whom may be one of the shooters. This is the second time in less than a week Germany has come under attack. Just Monday, a 17-year-old Afghan injured 4 people when he attacked them on the train with an axe and a knife. Now, authorities are continuing to search for as many as 3 gunmen. The shooting rampage happened in Munich outside a shopping center near the Olympic Stadium around 6 o'clock in the evening local time, there right outside of McDonald's. Now, video continues to circulate of what is believed to be one of the active shooters, and we're going to warn you, what you're about to see is disturbing. Now, JD, earlier you showed video of the president responding before the attack. Here is the president responding to the shooting in Munich.
Our hearts go out to those who may have been injured. It's still an active situation, and Germany is one of our closest allies, so we are going to pledge all the support that they may need.
Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump also weighed in on the shooting on Facebook. Here's what he had to say. Our prayers are with all those affected by the horrible attacks in Munich. This cannot continue. The rise of terrorism threatens the way of life for all civilized people, and we must do everything in our power to keep it from our shores. Trump's running mate, Mike Pence, also weighed in on the shooting on social media, posting this to Facebook. Our hearts are breaking again in the wake of today's appalling attack in Munich. We pray for the innocent victims and their families. We also pray for the strength to defeat the enemies of peace and those who spread terror in the world. Now, JD, while it remains unclear if this is connected to ISIS or terrorism in any way, a spokesperson for German police did call this, quote, a terror situation during a news conference earlier today. Authorities have also declared a state of emergency in Munich while they continue to search for those 3 suspects. And they have also suspended mass transportation. JD, back to you.
Thanks very much, Miranda, and you'll check in later with more updates. For this quick reminder, you need to know that we're interested in your assessment of what's been transpiring, and to offer it to us, you can give us a call. And you can call us at 1-877-NEWSMAX. That's 1-877-639-7629. Now, for more on the story, we're pleased to be joined by the former Lieutenant Governor of New York, Betsy McCaughey. Betsy Skyping in this evening from Connecticut. Betsy, as always, we thank you for your time here on Newsmax Prime. I chronicled in my commentary what President Obama had to say about the world not being violent. Never has the world been so peaceful, or words to that effect. Well, following the attack, my old associate, former House Speaker Newt Gingrich, slammed Mr. Obama's stance via Twitter. Here's what Newt had to say, tweeting this out. How does President Obama square his comments today about sun shining and birds singing, and no one should be afraid, with the Munich attack? Your reaction, Betsy?
Well, Americans hearing about these deaths tonight know that there's nothing unique about Munich. It could have been Miami or Minneapolis or any other community in the United States. And that's why we are terrified. That is the result of terror attacks. It terrifies peace-loving, law-abiding people. And incidentally, it will boost support for presidential candidate Donald Trump because he is the Keep America Safe candidate.
Let's go to the phones and get the reaction from those looking in tonight, Betsy. Let's go out to Salem, Oregon, the capital of that state. Destiny is on the line. Destiny, your reaction to what we've seen in Munich and what we're seeing in this country.
Well, I am just really getting fed up with all these so-called conservatives and talking heads and pundits being so critical of Donald Trump, saying, well, he's no Ronald Reagan, or he's going to have to show me or draw me in. Well, no one is going to be like Ronald Reagan or anyone else. And even Ronald Reagan wasn't perfect, but we will never have a perfect candidate. And Donald Trump is the right person for such a time as this because he will be tough on terror and he will be a strong candidate for our borders. So if Americans really understood what great peril this nation is in, they would put away their petty or selfish feelings and agendas and get behind Donald Trump.
And Destiny, you made mention of what Donald Trump had to say last night. And why don't we go back to his acceptance speech and listen to how the now GOP nominee addressed the subject of terrorism and his plan to fight it.
My plan will begin with safety at home, which means safe neighborhoods, secure borders, and protection from terrorism. There can be no prosperity without law and order.
So, Betsy, that was the note struck last night. And regardless of what happens on the alphabet networks and some other cable outlets, here the response was people said this is exactly what Donald Trump needed to say.
That's right. And Americans, with their own common sense, understand that we have to keep terrorists from entering this country. We have no effective way of vetting refugees who come in. So Donald Trump has taken a very common sense stance against welcoming refugees into this country until there is an effective system to vet them. And that is a key point that Americans all across the political spectrum are responding to keep us safe, keep the terrorists from outside our borders.
Now, Destiny didn't say this exactly, but I sense some of her frustration came from what went on the other night with Ted Cruz and his refusal to utter the words, "I endorse Donald Trump." It is worth noting that before he left Cleveland today, Donald Trump, who didn't mention it last night in his acceptance speech, did talk about Ted Cruz and the situation there. Let's look and listen.
Honestly, he may have ruined his political career. I feel so badly. I feel so badly. But I don't want his endorsement. What difference does it make? I don't want his endorsement.
Betsy, just have to ask you about that because
he's a natural. Donald Trump is a natural. Whether it's ruined Cruz's political career or not, that was such an effective thing to say. He's not going to stoop to begging Ted Cruz, who at the moment is a political nothing, for his endorsement.
All right. Well, it's interesting. Who else has weighed in on this? Hillary Clinton via Twitter. Look at what Secretary Clinton had to say as this was tweeted out. I believe we have the video. Yes, I never thought I'd say these words, but Ted Cruz was right. In this election, do the right thing and vote your conscience. Hillary's making a big assumption that people will think that she's got a conscience and they want her. But still, this is like a double whammy for Senator Cruz, is it not? The kiss off by Trump and then the rhetorical embrace via Twitter from Hillary Clinton.
Well, that's right. It's a kiss off from Trump and the kiss of death from Hillary Clinton.
And just have to ask you, we are waiting to see. We may find out before this telecast goes off the air who Hillary will pick for her running mate. Now, there have been three guys out there. Cory Booker, the senator from New Jersey, who happens to be African American. Tom Vilsack, the ex-governor of Iowa, who serves as Secretary of Agriculture. And then Senator Tim Kaine, the former governor of Virginia, who loves to address the crowds in Spanish and talk about his days living in Honduras. Do you believe it will be one of those three, Betsy, or do you think Hillary will look elsewhere for her running mate?
Well, of course, some people are still speculating that it could be Elizabeth Warren, that Hillary will take the extremely unconventional tack of having an all-female ticket. It's hard to say what she's going to do, but it really won't matter because the issue in this race is Hillary Clinton's record of lawlessness, of defying the Constitution, of lying to the American public, and of destroying America's position in the world while she was Secretary of State.
Now, there has been some overnight polling, but no real in-depth post-GOP convention polling as of yet. But traditionally, there is a bounce in the post-convention situation. Given Mr. Trump's speech last night, Betsy, and we have about 30 seconds here, do you think there will be a bounce, and what kind of bounce might we see in the polls?
I predict a very big bounce in the polls because Donald Trump's speech was a very effective and powerful message to Americans all across the political spectrum that he will create a resurging economic situation in this country and keep America safe.
Betsy McCaughey, tonight from Connecticut, Skyping in. Betsy, as always, we appreciate your insights.
My pleasure.
Now, do you agree with what Betsy had to say? You can let me know. You can join our conversation by calling us at 1-877-NEWSMAX. That's 1-877-639-7629. Also, send your comments to me at newsmaxtv.com/comments. Coming up next, the comments of Wayne Allen Root, a big Trump booster who's feeling mighty good about his